Let's review some operations on powers. What's 2 to the exponent 3? 2 times 2 times 2 is 8. This exponent means that we're multiplying 3 times. What's negative 5 to the 3? Negative times negative times negative indeed is negative, and 5 times 5 is 25. 25 times 5 is 125. Now what if you have a negative number, negative, to an odd exponent? Negative, 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 a bunch of negatives become negative. And 1 times 1 times 1 repeatedly is still 1. Now what if you have a negative 1 base to the exponent that's even? Every pair of negative 1's multiplied becomes positive. So the final answer is simply 1. 1 to the anything is 1. Now we know that 1 to the anything is 1, including 666. However, the negative sign is in front of this number. So the number is still negative. This is equivalent to negative 1 times 1 to the 666, which is negative 1 times 1, which is negative 1. Now how do we write as a single power? This here is 2 to the 1 times 2 to the 5, and there's an exponent law that says we add the exponents. This is the same thing as 2 to the 1 plus 5, which is 6. And it makes sense because there's 6 2's being multiplied. Now for question number 7, let's evaluate. Negative 4 squared, which becomes negative 4 times negative 4, which is 16. And we have a minus, and we have another negative 2 cubed. Now, when we're focusing on BEDMAS, we should do exponents first. What is negative 2 times negative 2 and times negative 2? 3 negatives become negative for this term, but we have another negative here. So negative and a negative makes a positive. What's 2 cubed? 2 to the exponent 3 is 8. And we're adding this term here, negative 1 squared. Negative 1 times negative 1 is 1. So we're adding 1. So 16 plus 9, 8 plus 1 is 9, is 25. What is 0 to the exponent 1? 0 to the anything is usually 0. What is 1 to the exponent 0? 1 to the anything is 1. Anything to the 0 is 1, including the strange irrational number pi, 3.14-ish. However, there is an exception. Please remember that 0 to the 0 is undefined. According to Wolfram Alpha, yes, 0 to the 0 is undefined. Be careful, Google might say that 0 to the 0 is 1. Now let's deal with negative exponents. Negative exponents can be converted to a positive exponents if you take the reciprocal, 1 over that base 2 to the 3. So the answer is 1 over 8, because 2 times 2 times 2 is 8. In general, when we have a to the negative b, this is equivalent to 1 over a to the b. Now what is 2/3 squared? We can simply write this out twice. 2/3 times 2/3 and multiply across. This would be 4 over 9. Or we could even spread the love, the exponent love, to the top and to the bottom. So this becomes 2 squared over 3 squared, which is 4 over 9. When we have a negative exponent, it's good to remember that when you have a fraction, you could simply switch top and bottom. So this becomes 2/3 to the 2. So we spread the love top and bottom, we have 2 squared over 3 squared, which is 4 over 9. In general, when you have ab to the negative c, this is equivalent to b over a to the c. Let's try this question again in a very strange way. Remember that when we have a negative exponent, we can rewrite it in this format here, 1 over the whole thing to the positive exponent. So this is a bit inefficient, but just for the sake of practice, we'll say this is 1 over the base 3 over 2 to the 2. So this would be 1 over, I'm spreading the exponent top and bottom, 3 squared becomes 9 over 2 squared becomes 4. So 1 divided by some fraction, 9 over 4, is equivalent to 1 times the reciprocal, which becomes 4 over 9. Finally, let's deal with this tricky question here. Be careful not to multiply two negatives to make it a positive. First and foremost, we must deal with BEDMAS exponents first. So this question essentially is negative 2 times, there's a hidden multiplication between this bracket, negative 2 to the negative 2. So we're going to multiply later. We're going to deal with this term here, which is 1 over the base to the positive version. So this expression becomes negative 2 times 1 over 4, because negative 2 times negative 2 is positive 4. So finally we have a regular fraction, and reducing it we get negative 1/2.